Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are y'all doing this evening? Excuse the mess behind me. I've got still unpacking from the Alabama trip. I have literally, literally came home and went to work. It's just been chaos since I got back. Everything at work that can go wrong, it went wrong. So it's all good. I don't know why I always put the headphones on, but I do. How's it going, Sandra? What's going on, Sandra? How you doing? Blue Sage, thanks for hopping in. What's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Oh my goodness, it has been a long week. I haven't even really got to talk about the Alabama trip. We had an awesome guest on the podcast on the garden party on Wednesday. Tasha from Canada came on. We had our first international guest ever come on the podcast, and it was really cool. She was from Vancouver Island, Canada, which is a really cool area. I'm in Zone 9B, and she's in Vancouver Island, Canada, and she's in Zone 9A. How weird is that she's in Canada and she's in Zone 9? That's so bizarre to think about. She was a really, really cool guest. Check her out. The Purposeful You. She does a lot of growing up there. She does a lot of sustainability stuff, like, trying to be more independent and, less dependent on the grocery stores and everything like that. TGIF, absolutely, Sandra. It is Friday evening, so I do these podcasts. I do these live streams every Friday. I call them the TGIF podcast, and I work every other Friday. So the Fridays that I work, I do the evening podcasts, and the Fridays that I'm off, I do the morning podcast. So I have coffee in the morning, and I have other things in the evening. So can everybody see me and hear me all right? I got my dog in here. I usually don't keep the dog Duke in the office when I'm doing the streams, but he's been very timid today. He's very tired. So hi D, how's it going? Hello Jerry, how you doing? Victoria, what's going on? It's really warm there in Vancouver. Yeah, she was telling me like it's not that she was describing, like, she was saying temperatures in Celsius, which was throwing me for a loop. We had she was saying Celsius and kilometers, and I was like, Phil, convert that, please. So it was fun. But yeah, I got back from Alabama on Sunday. We didn't do a Monday Night Live. I literally had 3.5 hours of footage to go through to try to do a video of my entire trip. And I didn't want to wait. I wanted to just go balls to the wall, go through it, edit it, get it out. So I worked Monday through Friday. We're Monday through Friday this week, but I stayed up to probably 11 o'clock at night, almost every single night, until about Wednesday, right before the podcast. That's when I exported it. So Monday, Tuesday, I stayed up like 11 o'clock. Went through, like I said, 3.5 hours of footage to cut it down to 25 minutes. Was crazy. The video turned out pretty good, I think, though. I went to probably 6 or 7 different nurseries, and I have all the footage, and I will be doing individual nursery tours for all the places I went to. I just put little snippets in there, little 30-second, 60-second snippets from some of the stuff I found. And so I'll be doing individual nurseries, tours, videos. I'll create a playlist for that. And I just posted the trip on Facebook. The entire video is on Facebook too. I'll do the same thing. Yeah, nurseries are so much fun to go to, especially when you're not from that town. So I did my nursery tours mostly in Birmingham. I got in Thursday. So I left my house Thursday morning, and I left the house at 4. And I drove into Louisiana, stopped in Iowa, Louisiana, and I wanted to make sure I had fuel, because I talked to my buddy that was in Baton Rouge, and he said that the hurricane had knocked power out in Baton Rouge at his house. And so I didn't know if there was gas stations or how bad it was going towards Mississippi. So I made sure to fuel up before I went to then to Baton Rouge. And luckily it was like 7 o'clock, 7:30, right after the hurricane. And shout out to the Louisiana linemen and all the digger trucks and all the tree trimming trucks. They were clearing the roads. I must have passed 100 line trucks coming into Louisiana from Texas and Mississippi. I mean, there was just a ton of guys coming into town to help get Louisiana back on. But it seems like Louisiana was prepared. And so I didn't have any obstructions in the road. I flew right through Louisiana, had no problems. Got into Mississippi, and Mississippi is beautiful. Mississippi is so pretty. I was like looking on each side, and I was seeing the deltas, and I even pulled off, went to like a little island, and just I was making good time. So when I got into Alabama, I stopped in Mobile, and then I had a choice. I was like, I could either go to Florida, like I didn't realize how close Florida was, and so I had thought about taking a detour and going to Destin, Florida, which is my namesake. My dad was conceived in Florida, and I am Destin Jr. So, and I've only been to Destin once, and I was really young, so I thought about going over there. But I think we're actually going to plan a trip for the spring. My wife's a teacher, and so spring break, I think we're just going to get on the road and drive, so that we can just go do a bunch of nursery tours. I think we're going to go through Pensacola to like Savannah, then go up to Columbia, and then possibly go to North Carolina where Phil's at, and then make our way back through like Tennessee, and then come back around and just do a whole week of that, and just stop at nurseries here and there. It was so much fun, and so I think that would be a lot of fun. So I think we're already going to plan that for sure, and just stop wherever we want to stop. But I got into Alabama. I left Mobile, went north, because the detour would have been like a 4-hour round trip to Destin. And so I went north to Montgomery, and Montgomery didn't have a whole lot of nurseries that weren't big box stores. That's what you'll encounter sometimes when you're in a place, and you'll find like, oh, you look for a nursery and it sends you like to Walmart or Home Depot, and there's nothing wrong with those stores. If you shop at Home Depot and get your plants at home, like Walmart, that's fine. If you know what you're looking for, that's fine. Usually the selection is not great. This year, Lowe's, because I'll go to Lowe's from time to time and get some things like some irrigation supplies, or if I need some gravel or something, I'll go do that. I have seen some cooler stuff, so that's fun. But I typically, when I'm doing these nursery tours, I like to go to smaller nurseries, family-owned nurseries, and check out stuff that, compared to like what we have in Houston, what do they have over here? And Montgomery was cool. I found one nursery called Green Thumb Nursery, and it was a lot of fun. Pretty wide variety of stuff that I wasn't expecting to see in Alabama. It's funny, you go from state to state, and something that's like super rare in Texas is like really common in Alabama, or Florida or something. So it was really cool to go see some of that stuff. I got a couple things, and that was a good spot to stop. So then I drove north, and I was staying in Clanton, Alabama. My hotel was in Clanton. By that time, the hurricane had made its way into like Tennessee, and it was already like a tropical depression or whatever. But the rain bands coming off were just terrible, hitting us real hard there in Clanton. I went into Walmart to get some snacks and get some. I actually needed an SD card reader for my computer. Went in there, came out, and it was like tornado warning. Rain was hitting hard. The wind was blowing like crazy. It was nuts, So I pretty much took it easy that night, went back to the hotel, and, kind of took it easy. And I had intentions of probably doing more stuff with, Cog Hill and with Just Dig It. But they were kind of bowed up. Tracy was, planning the event and doing all that stuff, and Jason had some stuff going on. So I was kind of on my own, and I wasn't expecting that. I was a little bummed out and disappointed, but it kind of worked out for the better. So I went ahead and I just made my trip that morning. I woke up early and I drove from Clanton, Alabama to Birmingham, Alabama. And the night before, I had just searched nursery in my on my phone on the Google Maps, and I went around and I just started dropping pins on cool nurseries. Uh, Birmingham, once you get north of Clanton and start getting towards Birmingham, it starts getting more rocky. You start seeing these rock faces and everything, and it's super hilly. The whole drive in Alabama was beautiful, going from Mobile to Montgomery and then Montgomery to Birmingham. Everything is beautiful, and I'm told if you go north of Birmingham or east of Birmingham, it gets even better. So I want to definitely go experience some of that as well one day, hopefully maybe next year. So, but I went to Birmingham and I started at one place and worked my way around. There was a lot of cool nurseries in Birmingham. Hey, by the way, I know I'm ranting and I'm kind of recapping my whole trip. But if y'all have garden questions, especially fall garden questions or tree planting questions, drop them down below and I'll get to them once I finish up this little recap. So got to Birmingham, went to a bunch of cool places. Historic Birmingham was really cool, like downtown. They had looks like they had rejuvenated, or I don't know what you call it, where you kind of fancy up an older neighborhood, gentrified. Yeah, it was very gentrified. That's the term I was looking for. Downtown Birmingham. Went to a couple places, really cool. Had some cool selections. And then I started driving back. I went to like 5 in Birmingham and then started making my way back down towards Jemison, where Petals from the Past was at. And that's where the event was held. And so I got there and it was so much fun. Like the whole trip was awesome. One thing, and I'm sure somebody from Alabama is going to take offense to this, is I thought the food was not great in Alabama. That's just me. I didn't think the food was great in Alabama. I don't know. I've kind of been trying to, I think it has something to do with my diet. I've been avoiding fast food. And so I was like stuck eating a lot of fast food and this wasn't great. Maybe it was my taste buds or what. I didn't think the food was that great in Alabama. That's just me. The barbecue was good. That night we had, after I went to Petals, and I went to go set up my stuff, set up my tent, my booth and everything the night before, but they had said the storms were going to be pretty bad. So if you set your tent up or something like that, it might like snap in half. So I went up there and hung out with Jason and Tracy a little bit, did a little interview with them that Tracy's going to post, I'm sure. And had a good time. It started raining, so I went back to the hotel, changed, and we had a little dinner that night. What I didn't include that in the video. We had a YouTuber dinner the night before the event, and I took my camera, but I didn't feel like it was appropriate to be recording a bunch of people. We're kind of behind the scenes stuff. I didn't want to do that, so I didn't record any footage Friday night. It was kind of just a hangout. And they had barbecue. It was good. The barbecue was good the night, and I think that Haas Tools, who was going to be there, unfortunately could not. Greg Key at Haas Tools, he was going to be there, and I think his father died. So that's sorry to hear that, Greg. But he sponsored Friday night's dinner, bought dinner for everybody, so that was really cool. And after that, I went home and went back to the hotel and took it easy, and woke up early the next morning, set up my tent, set up everything, and the weather was very mild Saturday morning. It was, anybody who was at the event knows the weather was very mild first thing Saturday morning. It was very nice. Not a whole lot of crazy clouds, maybe a little bit of sprinkling here and there. And it was going really well. A lot of people were there. Jason had his bees. That was one thing that freaked me out a little bit. So Jason from Cog Hill had his booth right next to mine. They had their camper, and they had 2 booths where they were selling like their goat soap and their honey. And the guy, Jay, I think his name's Jay, who does their honey, had a display, and it was this cool little like honeycomb looking wooden thing. It's in the video that it had like a frame of like a honeycomb with bees on it. And it was kind of cool. You could spin it and turn it around, and they'd actually gone and they'd marked the queen with like a green dot, and you could see the queen, which was really awesome. The problem is they also brought like a beehive with them. And Jason also has bees at that nursery in the orchard. Well, the way they described it to me is that when bees come around they can overpower like another hive. What they'll do is like they call them robber bees. They'll swarm, and not necessarily swarm, but they'll go after that honey and steal it from them. So all these bees were in this plexiglass little box, and their hive was off to the side until these other hive basically showed up. And it kind of freaked me out a little bit at first because I wasn't used to like that many bees being around me. But I've had situations like in my backyard where my neighbor had the bees in the side of his house that they would swarm from time to time. And honestly, I'm in my backyard, I've got bees everywhere, like all the time. So as long as you're not messing with bees, you're not going to really get stung. I mean, I've been gardening in this yard for 7 years, having that hive in my neighbor's house, and I've never been stung by a bee. I've never been stung by a wasp, like in my backyard. I've been stung by a bee, obviously, in my lifetime, but never in my backyard with all of them flying around. And I don't get rid of my wasps either. I leave my wasps. I don't spray them. I keep them because they do a lot of good. So it kind of freaked me out a little bit, and they had to move the hive, but it was a lot of fun until about 11 o'clock. About 11 o'clock, it started raining hard. It started raining hard, super, super hard. It was wild how much rain, and it was kind of freaking me out a little. Kind of cool though, because the way that the drainage works is we had a muscadine, like a orchard behind us, and the way they did it was with these swales. And I'd first heard about this technique from Jason because Tracy helped him design his orchard at his house, and they did their orchard on a hill with swales. And the way a swale works is you plant your rows on this hill and you build up these berms. So as the water is draining down the hill, it's catching in these little berms, and they will kind of collect a little bit, but then there will be spots where they funnel out and they go to the next row and they water that row. So like, it's not just straight running water. Because if you have like just straight running water, that's how erosion happens. Soil gets washed out. Your trees will fall over because the soil will be washed out from underneath them. But if you have these swales built up, the water will kind of go like a gutter. It kind of goes like this, and it's going to flow down to the next one, this one to the next one, this one to the next one. And then it'll empty into a pond. And then you can put your pump on that pond water and then pump it back up to the top. And you can just keep that cycle going. Really cool stuff. So I got to see it in action working with all that heavy rain. And so about an hour or so later, it cleared up. And then, a lot of people hung out. A lot of people stood by and didn't leave. There was people that drove from Indiana, Pennsylvania. There's people that drove from like Texas, like me, so it was pretty cool to see all the people showing up and, wanting to meet some of these homesteaders, and I wanted to meet more of the homesteaders. I was kind of by myself. It was really a homesteader meetup, and I wouldn't consider myself a homesteader. Like, I don't do homesteader content. I do more gardening, farming. I don't know. I wouldn't consider myself a homesteader. So this was mostly homesteader channels that were there, and there's 20 different channels. And so I kind of feel like the odd man out, but I also was by myself too. So like, I didn't want to leave my booth. You never know. So like, I wish I would have, gone around and talked to more people. I don't know. The weather kind of, I don't know. The weather kind of screwed up my mentality a little bit. I kind of got bummed out, and I was kind of just like, I'm just going to sit here until the rain stops. And then when the rain stops, I'm going to start packing my stuff up. I'm going to get out of here. I don't know. The rainy, nasty days can really mess up your good times, so especially when I drove about 700 miles there. And then I drove around for about 100 miles, like while I was there, like going to Birmingham and driving around, and then about 700 or so miles on the way home. So round trip, I did about 1,600 miles in 4 days, which was pretty wild. I mean, it wasn't as bad. I mean, it was beautiful driving, And when you're in the south part, it's all I-10. So I mean, it's not that bad of a drive at all. I highly recommend making that drive. I want to do it again in the spring when it's nicer weather. So, Saturday night, packed my stuff up, was kind of soggy and wet from being outside all day. And I was honestly, when I packed up my stuff and I went live Saturday night because I didn't have anything else to do. I was stuck in my hotel room. Um, I was like a little bit defeated, little bummed out, um, just really trying to make the best out of the trip. And I was like, all right, well, at least I got a bunch of content made out of this, and we should be good. And so I left that next morning, and I was like, I'm just going to drive home. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to stop when I need to pee or get gas. I'm not going to stop. And by the time I made it to like Montgomery, got gas, I had my second wind. I had my second wind, and I stopped at a place in Louisiana, Slidell, Louisiana, called the Garden Spot, which, come to find out, is actually right down the block from where my buddy Danny grew up. Is how his parents still live like a block away in Slidell, right next to that place. So that was really cool. The Garden Spot changed my entire trip because it ended it on a good note. The whole trip was good. Like, looking back, the experience, the people I met quite a few people who I will probably be getting on the garden party and doing some stuff with. But ending on a really good note when I found the Garden Spot was awesome. It's a 3rd generation family owned nursery right there in Slidell, and they had the kind of stuff that I like the tropical stuff. I'm really into like tropical things. I found a desert rose. I ended up getting a sweet almond verbena, and then a beautiful, they called it a Big Papa red hibiscus. And it's like a dinner plate hibiscus that I need to transplant. Got a lot of plants. I think I end up getting more pots and everything on this trip. I bought more pots than I did plants on this trip. Lots of cool places. I'll be showing y'all everything I got on these garden tours. At the end of each nursery tour, I go through everything I got and what I spent, pretty much, So I like to break that down and let y'all know like the nurseries that you may not ever heard of before, and about what I paid, So, but all in all, it was a great trip. I can't wait to go back. I think just next time when I go back, I won't just go straight there. I'll probably map it out and make a couple different stops, and then also not rely on other people to, entertain me. I was kind of not that I was going into it thinking I was going to be like, entertained specifically by someone, but like I need to have a plan on my own next time I go. So I kind of went into this open ended, not really planning a whole lot out besides the meetup. And so, but it turned out great. I had a great time. It was well worth it. Well worth the drive. So let's see. I bought a cheap multi-fruit peach, plum, apricot, and nectarine tree, and it's growing awesome here in Ottawa, Canada. Oh, nice. I've heard of those before. I've never seen them before. That's really cool. Yeah, that's really awesome. Do you have knowledge of growing bananas? Mine is something black on the lower portion of it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I don't know what that would be. I wonder if it's some kind of rot or something, or some kind of infection. That's weird. I have only grown bananas in my house in containers. I grew them in one of those big mineralic tubs, and they would die back every winter, and I never got fruit because they were dying back too quick. They were the Blue Java ice cream bananas. And I never got any fruit out of them, so I ended up just not I ended up just slicing them up and giving them away to someone, because they would die back, and whenever one dies back, 2 come up. And whenever 2 die back, 4 come up. So the whole pot was getting full. So I'm not interested in bananas yet until I get a bigger space, maybe. But I don't know why the lower portion of it would be black. I don't know enough about bananas to like specifically say what that would be. It could be a lot of different. It could be like some kind of rot. It could be, is it mushy? Is it something maybe you can cut out? Bananas are super resilient depending on where you're at. you might be able just to cut it back to the ground and just maybe mulch over it really well, cover it with some compost, and then it'll probably come up healthier than it was in the beginning. I don't know. I'd have to see pictures. If y'all ever have questions, feel free to go on Instagram and send me an email. Or go on Instagram and send me a DM with pictures, please. I keep wasps around too, as long as they don't build a nest in my door frame. Yeah, I see them in my fences sometimes, like, or on my fence, and as long as it's not like out in the open, like if they grow under my back porch, I'll knock them down. But if they're like growing under like the eave of my fence or something like that, I leave them alone. They do a lot of good. I've seen them in action. Wasps are brutal. Garden. Hey, what's going on, Cheryl? It might be sooty mold. Huh. That's a new one for me. I don't know. I don't know anything about sooty mold. Oh my goodness. But yeah, so it's going to be a fun weekend. Tomorrow morning, I have the Strawberry Jamboree. I had the Strawberry Jamboree. It's going to be with my friend Kimberly from the Missouri County Agriculture or Ag Extension. Let me see if I can pull up I'll pull up the link right now. Well, that's just a picture. Hold on a second. I'll try to pull it up. Oh my goodness, there's a banner. I'll show the event. I'm gonna put a link to the event. How about that? I put a link to the event so y'all can go check it out. But it's a free event tomorrow over in Lake Jackson, Texas. I'll be talking. If I'm being completely honest, I'm not the biggest strawberry grower. I do grow strawberries, but I would, and by no means call myself an expert. I'm supposed to do a Q&A. I've been doing my research over the week, but I would by no means call myself a strawberry expert. But there are people who, they're probably more. Some people, I don't know. Typically I grow strawberries in hanging baskets. Yeah, Skip talked about it. Okay, cool. Yeah, what I didn't know, well, I kind of knew, but I didn't really think about, is planting strawberries now. So now is actually the time to get like your bare root strawberries or get your plugs. I think you can actually order them through the Ag Extension tomorrow at the event. My buddy Froberg at Froberg's Farm is actually going to hook me up. Shout out to Tyler. I'm going to buy some of theirs from them. They're going to get bare root, which is like where you buy the crown. And then you can also buy the plugs. And he recommended buying the plugs. So plugs are basically, you're going to buy them like in those little plastic cells. They'll be like, this big, and this deep, and you would put them like in a raised bed, like I'm going to do, or you would, put them in a pot. And strawberries can handle the cold. They can handle the cold really well. I'll probably just set mine out. I've got a bed that I'm planning on planting some garlic in, and garlic takes forever to grow. I've done garlic once before, but I've never really done much garlic because I'm just so space restricted. I don't have that much space in my yard. So I've got an extra bed now, and I've even got some of these. I've actually got some of these smart pots now. So I may even do some of that. I may put some of them in that. But yeah, strawberries are cold tolerant, so you want to plant them now. And so you do that, and you don't really have to protect them. You don't really have to protect them from the frost unless they have blossoms. So the reason that like Froberg and them will cover theirs up with frost cloth, like he was telling me, is if they already have fruit or blooms on them, you want to cover them up or protect them. And they do, because they sell the You Pick strawberries. You come out there and pick them. If they have the fruit and the flowers on them, you want to cover those up and protect them from a hard frost, because then they'll die back. Same thing like with my loquat. I've got a loquat in the greenhouse that I bought this year. I've always wanted one, and they used to be like pretty common. Like my dad had one, my stepdad had one in his dad's yard, and loquats used to be pretty common. You see a lot of them until we started getting these really hard freezes. And loquats are cold tolerant down to a certain temperature if they're planted in the ground and they have established root systems. The problem is loquats will put on their fruit in like November. And so if it experiences a big freeze, it's going to drop those fruit. So the fruit won't ripen if it gets a hard freeze, which we usually get a hard freeze in like late January, February. So that's why I've got my loquat in a pot in the greenhouse so that I can get some of this fruit because I love loquats. My dad used to have a place in Lexington, Texas, and he would bring back like buckets, he'd fill up feed bags with loquats, and we'd, make jellies out of loquat jelly. Oh my God. It's got that little pit in the middle. But yeah, so that's the same concept with the strawberries. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna talk about tomorrow when I'm there. I'll have my booth and everything set up. I'm excited to do it. Just I like going to talk to people, and I'll be doing the Q&A session. So we'll talk about strawberries. If I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But y'all can ask me anything you want tomorrow. It's going to be fun, though. Let's see. My parents would cover strawberries with straw in Indiana winters and never had to replant them. Absolutely. Yeah, so what I was told is to cover them with straw in this, like when it starts getting hot in the spring. That here in Texas we have pretty mild winters except for a couple of freezes, but we should be able to just kind of leave them alone during the freeze and they should be okay as long as they don't have fruit or flowers. And I've got some shade cloths, and the spot I'm planning on planting them is going to be in an area that's kind of protected from the windbreak too much. and I'll be able to put a frost cloth over it pretty easily. It's a 4x4 raised bed. I'm not doing like 10 rows of strawberries or anything. But in the spring, when it starts getting really warm, like going into May, you start having issues with it being too hot for the strawberries. And that's why here in Texas, a lot of people buy their strawberry plants in the spring and they last for like 2 months, and it just gets too hot. So my goal is to establish a perennial bed of strawberries in a super shady spot in my yard. So we'll see how that goes. And I'll end up covering the whole thing with straw to see if I can protect them from the freeze. Or from the heat, not from the freeze. Let's see. What is going on, Amber? I never make it to your lives while it's going. Hey, from Springtown, Texas. What's going on? Let's see. Victoria said, would you lower them if they're in a hanging pot when a freeze is predicted? That's a good question. I had them in my hanging basket. Last year, and I didn't. I just left them. And I know what you're thinking, because if you're going to plant them in a bed, you've got that insulation with the soil in the raised bed or in the ground. You should be fine. But if it's in a container, it might make you concerned. I would only worry about it covering it or protecting it if it already has flowers and blooms, because the plant will survive, but the blooms and the strawberries that are the fruit that are already on it might drop. You might not get those to full term. So you bought silver from Froberg. Nice. Yeah, I'll be doing some stuff with Froberg soon. He called me the other day, and God, we used to do a lot of stuff together when I worked. I used to work a same company but different position, where I worked 26 weeks out of the year. I worked 7 days on and 7 days off. So I would have 7 whole days that I worked, and I was basically could do nothing but work. And then I had 7 days where I could do whatever I wanted, and I would do all kinds of crazy stuff. I would go up there with Froberg at the farm he was working at the time and just help out around the farm and video and, do whatever. And it was so much fun. And it's just, it's changed now with my new position and everything. And he's got a different position he's at, back at the family farm. So like, it's, everything changes, and it's just the way it is. But we have talked recently, because I was asking about the strawberries, and we're going to try to do something together, do an event together. They do a lot of events out there, but I want to take the guys whenever we do Figtoberfest. If I have time, I want to take them by there and show them that. Let's see. I moved my strawberry container into mostly shady and Fort Worth during the hot months. This is their second year. There you go. Yeah, for sure. If you can move them into a shady spot in the warm months, they'll kind of go dormant. They'll look kind of rough, but you can definitely over make them for the next year. I just bought some strawberries 2 days ago, trying to decide where to put them. So if you're going to put them in a raised bed, this is kind of a warm up for me tomorrow. This is kind of a warm up for the strawberry jamboree tomorrow that I'll be at answering questions. So if you're trying to put them in, let's say, a pot, for now, I would put them in almost complete shade. It's still too hot here in Houston. It's way too hot in Houston right now. I thought it was fall. I was outside earlier and my camera overheated. My camera overheated and shut down on me while I was doing I had a lot of new followers on YouTube. So I wanted to do a intro video, like a reintroduce, like allow me to introduce myself in the backyard, starting from the gate and show everybody like the whole setup, the whole garden. So that was what I was doing, and my camera overheated. And I'll be working on that. But if you just bought some strawberry plants today, put them. If you're gonna put them in a pot, put them in a. I prefer pots, unless you have a spot where you can protect them from this hot sun right now, because you can toast them right now. It's still so hot, you can still toast them. When you transplant them into a pot or a raised bed, whatever you're gonna do, you want to water the hell out of them. Water them like. You definitely want to water them a lot, because that's what Froberg was telling me. He goes, water them a lot. If you have a drip irrigation, just turn it on and leave it on. Because I think they're planting theirs right now, and they're just going to leave the irrigation on nonstop. And so if you can, transplant them, water them a couple times a day, morning and evening. Make sure it's in a well-draining soil, though. You don't want it holding soil and those crowns rot. But put it in some shade for now. And once we're, going into December, late November, December, when we start getting like in the 50s and 40s, you can put them out in full sun then. You're probably going to still want to be steady watering them, occasionally. But, I would not want them out in the full sun right now. So I've got a raised bed that's over in the corner, out of the way, that I'm going to top with really good living earth rose soil. I'm gonna do a combination of rose soil because it's kind of sandy. It's kind of sandy, and it's they call it like rose soil or a tree and shrub. It's slightly acidic, not super acidic, but it's slightly acidic. So I'm gonna use some of that, and then do a mulch as well. And I'll plant my garlic and the strawberries in the same bed. I'm gonna be growing. As far as I know right now, I've only got the elephant garlic, which Cog Hill recommended to me. Come to find out, and he told me this, that elephant garlic is actually not a true garlic. It's technically a leek, but they make these giant cloves of garlic. Like, they're crazy big. So I'm going to be doing some elephant garlic that I got from Haas Tools, and I'll probably find out some other varieties as well to plant in that bed, because they're going to take 6-7 months to finish. You can pick garlic at any point, but to get a full clove, a full bulb, it could take 6 to 9 months to produce garlic. And I don't typically let mine dry. When I did it last time, it's gonna sound stupid, but I pickled my garlic. I took it, and you make a brine. I don't think I even had to like pressure. I didn't like pressure can it or water bath it or anything. I just put it in the fridge. But you make like a concoction of vinegar and water like you would like a normal pickle, and you just stick the garlic in there. You pull each individual clove and you pull it out and you stick it in there. What was cool is it actually changed the color of the garlic from white to like pink. Yeah, I remember there's something to that. Like, the blue is like for lower pH, and the pink, it's like a pH strip. It was weird. But the garlic oil does not allow the vinegar to penetrate the actual garlic clove, but it will preserve it, and you will not have that vinegary flavor when you use that garlic. which is kind of cool. Here in the Texas area, here in my part of Texas, it's so hot and humid that when you go to dry garlic like that, some people have issues with mildew and stuff like that. So I mean, there's other ways to do it. It's like you can make garlic powder, you can make that pickled garlic, you can make minced garlic and can it. I mean, there's ways to use it. So what I was getting at was garlic and strawberries are good companion plants. So we're supposed to have a hot day tomorrow. Yeah, no, I got a wedding I got to go to. So I got the strawberry jamboree first thing in the morning, and then I've got my neighbor, poor bastard's getting married tomorrow. So shout out to Scott and Taylor. They're getting married tomorrow. So that's up in Montgomery. So it's going to be a drive. We're going to stay with my in-laws. But yeah, no, so I got a busy weekend. And then Sunday morning, I'll be on the radio with Skip. I think I'm supposed to be on with Skip from 8 to 8:30. I think it's 8 to 8:30. I don't know. Shout out to Robert Reese. He told me I was going to be a guest, but apparently I'm only on from 8 to 8:30. So that's kind of a letdown, but hey, I'll take it. So I'll be on, I'll put the time I'll be on, so they can see the bump in viewership on 740. I'm just kidding, Skip. But yeah, so I'm supposed to be on the Garden Line for like 30 minutes on Sunday, so that'll be fun. Oh man. Let's see. Mine get early morning sun right now for a couple hours, then shade. Yeah. So like I could almost put my strawberries like in my front flower bed. My front flower bed actually would be a great place to grow strawberries because they get morning sun and that's about it. My vincas up here, my vincas, and my wife planted a ton. I'm not frozen. I was just saying a ton of vincas. My entire front flower bed has about 80 vincas in it. It's insane the amount of vincas I have. We even have some cascading ones that kind of, overflow, and they're really nice. The vincas are so cool. So that's a really good option for your strawberries. Yes, I have a raised bed, but it's full sun. I do have a mini sprinkler system set up in it twice a day. The peppers and cherry tomatoes are doing wonderful right now. Yeah, so your peppers and your tomatoes will do well there. Your strawberries will not. I would not recommend putting your strawberries in that bed. Put them in a hanging basket. Put them in a pot. Put them in a smart pot grow bag. But do not put them in full sun right now. Put them in the shade. You can put them almost in complete shade right now. It is hot. You will toast your strawberries if you put them in full sun. I'm going to try garlic in a smart pot. Yeah, I might try that. I really might try that because I've got a couple smart pots. What you could also do is you could interplant your garlic. You could interplant your garlic with something else, So if you don't have enough space, and you don't want to have another pot, you could just put it in a pot like with your, fruit tree or your flower bed like we were discussing, So yeah, I mean, you can make space for garlic. Green onions are another one. You can replant green onions, cut the tops off and replant them. Yes, go move them right now, Amber. Amber said, that's good to know. I need to move them now. Yes, right now. Go outside and move them now. Right now. Go move your strawberries right now. Even full moon will kill them. No, I'm just kidding. Oh my God. Happy Friday, everybody. If you've got garden questions, drop them down below. Do you provide consults? I honestly wish I did. I wish I had the time, but I have a full-time job, and then I have another full-time job, which is this. I wouldn't call it a job because I really enjoy what I do. It's never really work if you enjoy what you're doing, and I enjoy both my jobs. So, but I really enjoy this gardening stuff that I do. I just do not have the time to do consults. I wish I did. I barely have enough time to shoot my videos and edit them. I barely have time to plant stuff. I got plants that I got to plant in my garden. I can't go around planting other people's stuff yet, or I wish I did. I make certain exceptions, but man, it's really hard for me to do it. I probably have an event every week this fall, and spring is already booking up. I already have stuff booking up for this weekend or for next spring. So it's really hard for me to do stuff like that. Yes. Let's see. I literally just put them near the garden bed too to plant tomorrow. Yeah, don't put them in there. Amber, you did a good job tuning in tonight. garlic, radish, etc. How? Oh, really? So you plant them like that? Well, you could do that with radishes and garlic, but and you might think that, like, some people might not know radishes grow really fast, so they're a root veggie that grows really fast. You could pick certain varieties of radishes, like French breakfast radishes or the black Spanish radish, and you can plant the seed, and like 6 to 8 weeks later, you pull up a giant radish. My dad was doing, what were they called? What's the white one? The Japanese radish, the daikon. God, he has some giant radishes. They're the size of carrots, like they're size of big carrots too. And those aren't as spicy. They're not as spicy as like a regular radish. Good to be busy with what you love. Absolutely. No, I stay busy. I stay super busy. When you're trying to build a brand, you're trying to build you know, a social media brand like Texas Garden Guy. I stay very busy. I stay very, very busy. Whether it's live streams, and I feel like people have really been liking the live streams lately. If you like the live stream, make sure you hit the like button, share some of this stuff, and hit a comment down below, and make sure you're subscribed on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I've been doing these lives almost 3 days a week now for a while, and I really enjoy them. It's very carefree for me because I can just come on and talk. I don't have to edit anything. I don't edit anything out. Whatever I say here, whether it's stupid or intelligent, fact check me, please. Like, someone was telling me the other day, like I was like, I don't even, yeah, I mean, I don't make stuff up, but I typically, if I don't know, I just say I don't know. Daikon, yes, I didn't know that's how you spell it. I thought it was Dykon. I saved 4 strawberry plants tonight. Nice. Thank you, Amber. I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, thank y'all so much. I definitely love the lives to Kirk. Oh, that's awesome. Nice. Yeah, I'll be doing some events. I got events coming up. I'll pop up my schedule so y'all can come see me in person sometime. And I try not to be in the same place all the time so that people from different parts of Houston and around Texas can come see me. And I don't really charge for my events or anything like that. Usually I don't charge. I charge some of the places to do events, but I don't charge like people to come to the events, So let's see. Look at my schedule. So tomorrow I'll be at the Strawberry Jamboree. That is at the Lake Jackson Rec Center. I think it's the Rec Center. Go look on Facebook. I posted the link for the Strawberry Jamboree tomorrow. It's from 8 to 12. Then some Saturday morning, I'll be on the garden line for 10 minutes or so. Then the September 29th, I think it's a Sunday, at 11:30, I'll be on with Enoch, the Urban Gardener podcast. He does a really cool podcast every Saturday morning and every Sunday morning. And I swear his production value, it's like a TV show on PBS. Like, it's amazing. He does really cool segments and stuff. He's the one that inspired me to step my game up. I love meeting other content creators in the gardening space because they will inspire you to step your game up. So we got that. And then that next week, Phil's Figs, my co-host for the garden party, and the Fig Hunter, which I need to call tomorrow because I haven't talked to him in a while. They're coming into town for Figtoberfest. They're coming to town for Figtoberfest. They're coming in Thursday night. Friday morning, October 4th, the day before Figtoberfest, we're going to Moody Gardens. They open at 10 a.m. And my friend Danita is going to give us a tour through the rainforest. They have the rainforest and they have the aquarium. They're both these big glass pyramids. We're going to go through the rainforest with Danita. She's going to give us a tour, and we're probably going to go to the aquarium afterwards. I've never been through the aquarium. My wife is terrified of sharks, so she won't go through with me. So I'm excited to actually go through the aquarium with Phil and everybody who shows up. We were working on a group rate for that. The problem with that is I would have had to create like a PayPal submit pay because they had to have the money up front. You know, they had to have a commitment and the money up front. I would have had to pay in advance for how many people and what if people canceled or, got caught in traffic and they couldn't be there or whatever. I didn't want to be responsible for other people's money. And I also didn't want to be responsible for putting up a bunch of money up front. So I don't know what the rate is for community gardens. For the rainforest, I know there's a package to do the aquarium and the rainforest. So, but we're going. So be there at 10. And the next day is Figtoberfest. Figtoberfest is so awesome. It's going to be really, really cool. They just shared a link to I think it's something ag or whatever. Let me see if I can find it. Kimberly shared a link to me about the event. They did like an article, which is really cool. Anyway, but we've got we got Heirloom Soils is donating all the soil for the event for the propagations. David Burke, the fig hunter, is bringing fig cuttings with him to propagate. He's going to be doing like propagations, showing people how to propagate all morning long. Our friends over at Fig Brew are sending us Figgy, which is their fig alternative to coffee, which is really, really cool. We also have, let me look at the flyer. I just posted the flyer, didn't I? Dang it. See who else. The city of Angleton donated the space. Like they're not charging us for the event. We were originally going to be at the ag extension office, but we had over like 200 people sign up. So we had to find a bigger space. So we got like a new pavilion. It's at Lakeside Park. It's like a new like outdoor pavilion. It's going to be so much fun. The people over at Sungrove, which is a new company that actually met at the Nursery and Landscape Expo, they are sending us fig trees to give away. So not only will there be my figs to give away, not only will the fig hunter be handing out propagations and showing people how to propagate figs, so everybody will literally leave with a fig tree, but this company is donating a bunch of fig trees to us. So that's the Sun Grove. And then I will also have fig trees to probably give away. Yeah. And then who else? That's it. That's it for now. I had an idea to do a bunch. I had an idea to do a bunch of fig stuff, but everything just got away from me. So like, this is it. this is all we got right now. So we're going to have a bunch of people talking about figs. We have like 4 or 5 different talks. It's from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. because it's early October. It can still be kind of warm. So we're looking to kind of not get too hot. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then October 12th, the next week, I think that's a Saturday, I'm going to be at Enchanted Forest doing a winter gardening class. I'll be in Enchanted Forest over there in Richmond. Love those guys. And then October 19th, the following Saturday, I will be at Jimbo's. We're going to do a fall gardening class there. And then the next Saturday, I will be at Jorge's Hidden Gardens with Jorge. We're going to do our fall event over there. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to go and we're going to we're going to really focus on fall tree planting. That's going to be our main focus for the event. I don't have a poster for that one yet. I will have it soon. I need to work on it. I have not had time to do much besides film and edit and live stream lately. So you really, you have to try your best when you have a family and stuff to make the time to turn it off. And here lately, it's been hard to turn it off. So, but I appreciate my wife being there with me and helping me with everything. If you don't see me videoing myself, it's usually her behind the camera doing it. So, she's a lot of help, and it's rough sometimes. It's rough sometimes making time for everything and still trying to get all this stuff done. So, but I know everybody appreciates the content and enjoys it, so it's worth it. But yeah, no, the lives have been great. The live streams have been nice. They're very simple for me. Definitely love the live. Okay, you said that earlier. See, I have 10 daikon radishes and 2-foot deep raised beds right now. And there you go. There you go. I have no transportation to see your film. I will have to miss your events. Just get to watch your lives. We will make sure we do some live stuff. We'll make sure we have some live streaming going on. I will ensure that, because I do know there are people, like where Phil's from. He's in North Carolina, and Dave Burke from the Fig Hunter is in California. So we want to make sure we're doing some kind of stream and getting that recorded. Even if I have to record it and do like voice isolation later on and post it, we will figure out something like that to where people who can't be there can see what happened. My son and I will be heading down from Fort Worth to attend Fig Fest. Can't wait. Absolutely. Thanks, Mike. No, it's going to be awesome. And it's a free event. All these events I'm talking about are free events. Sounds busy and tons of fun. It is busy, but it is tons of fun. Yep, Mike will have a drive. Mike's going to have a drive, but hey, it's a fun drive. Nice. Everybody, y'all all from DFW. Cool. Yeah, and figs do well in Dallas. Figs definitely do well in Dallas. We were talking about with Tasha from the Hopeful. God, what is it? Tasha's. What is her? I'm literally exhausted. I'm so exhausted. Is it? What was her? I gotta look it up now. What was Tasha's? I'm gonna lose my mind. Tasha, our guest, the purposeful you. The purposeful you. Yes. The Purposeful You. She was great. She said in up there in Vancouver Island that they actually have really good success with figs. So that's exciting. Yeah, I think we recommended to her the Desert King. So that should do pretty well. Yeah, I'm gonna be going to bed early tonight. I'll be going to bed early tonight. We need some Texas Garden Guy and Guardian Party shirts soon. Yeah, it's in the spring. I'll do something in the spring. I'll make it happen. We got the hats now. I'll drop the link for the hats. We do have the hats. The hats are pretty cool. My friend Jeremy Trotsky, the Dirty Punk Gardener, which he's going to be on the podcast again soon. So be on the lookout for that. Him and his wife, Alicia, they have a printing company up there in Toronto, Ohio. And they actually made my hats for me. So when you buy one of my Texas Garden Guy hats, you're supporting a small business and a content creator like Alicia and Jeremy. So definitely go get one of my hats. But yeah, no, we're gonna do something. We're definitely gonna do something. I've done shirts before, and I don't know if I'm at big straw hats. I gotta get people to buy my regular hats first before I go buy big straw hats and sell them. With me, it's handling inventory and handling shipping is a pain in the butt for me. So if I can work something out like with my hats, the way I'm doing that with Alicia and Dirty Punk and Jeremy, then we'll figure it out. I got to come up with a new design. I want to try to come up with new designs for everything. So, but problem is if I make it, people got to buy it. So if you want Texas Garden Guy shirts, let me know in the chat, and I'll make it happen. But yeah, if I make them, you got to buy them. Yeah, and I'm not making much on the hats either. I think I don't. It depends on which hat you buy, but it's like $5 a hat that I'm making. So, and I even have some on me. If you're gonna be at Strawberry Jamboree tomorrow, I will have hats on me. They're $25 for garden party shirts. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I may have to throw a couple designs up at Jeremy and Alicia and see what they can do for a shirt. Because right now I think they're doing made to order, so like they're not stocking up on a bunch of hats. It's like that. I think they can probably do make to order shirts as well. So like you pick out what color shirt you want, and then they print it out then and there. So we'll figure it out. We're gonna definitely have to get something done. But every logo that I've ever done, whether it's my little logo or my Texas Garden Guide, like the circle logo. I made them myself, and I try to take my time and uh, be creative as I can, to make those cool logos. So those are all from me. Yep, for sure. Yeah, I probably wouldn't do shirts until spring. So the earliest you would see shirts would maybe be March, early mid February, March. What I would say. So, but yeah, no, there's definitely hats though. Go get you some hats. The new hats are cool. I love the new hats, the foamies. I did the low profile foamy truckers, and they got the rope, and it's a kind of a more of a dad hat. Like it's not like a truck. It's like a traditional trucker or like a flat brim. It's more of like I don't have them in there with me, but I really like them. I ordered about 10 of each to have on me, and I sold quite a bit of them in Alabama. I would have sold more if it wasn't raining. So, but guys, it is 8 o'clock, and that is when I usually, watch White Collar and chill for an hour before I go to bed. Hey, White Collar is good. I'm watching all those old USA shows right now. Watched White Collar. We watched Suits. Suits was really good. We watched White Collar. We just finished that like 2 nights ago, and now we're watching, what is it called? Royal Pains. I've heard Royal Pains and Burn Notice are good, so they're nice little stuff to rewatch. All the new TV is not good, so I end up watching like old stuff. So, but yeah, I'll be back on live. We're gonna do Monday night. We're gonna do a Monday night live at 7, and then we'll do the garden party on Wednesday at 7. This week on the garden party, let me tell you who's gonna be a guest in the garden party this week. Let me tell you, it's gonna be a good crew. This week on the garden party, we got speak of the devil, we got Jeremy Trotsky, Dirty Punk Gardening. We got him on, and then we got Josh Gardens, the plant techie. Josh Gardens, the plant techie, and Dirty Punk Gardening. I got to make a poster for that. So, and then the week after that, we're going to have Desiree, the Gardening with Des, and we'll also have Garden Marcus. Garden Marcus is a really cool guy. He actually sent me his new book. Check out Garden Marcus. He might be the nicest, coolest dude I've ever seen on the internet. Really nice guy. Garden Marcus. Good vibes. But yeah, this Wednesday will be Jeremy Trotsky, Dirty Punk Gardening, and Josh, the plant techie. So that's gonna be a good one. And of course, Phil's Figs. So, but yeah, guys, hope you all have a great weekend. Look out for my posts and everything. I'll be at the Strawberry Jamboree tomorrow morning about 8 o'clock. Probably eating a kolache. I'm trying to stay away from the bread, but we shall see. But I hope you all have a great weekend. Have a great night, and see y'all on Monday.